India-US proposed trade pacts terms of reference include about 19 chapters. Report the terms of references tours finalized by India and the US for the proposed bilateral trade agreement include around 19 chapters covering issues such as goods, services, and customs facilitation, official sources said. To give further impetus to the talks, an Indian official team is visiting Washington next week to iron out differences on certain issues before formally launching negotiations for the proposed India-US bilateral trade agreement. BTA. India's chief negotiator, Additional Secretary in the Department of Commerce Rajesh Agrawal, will lead the team for the first in-person talks between the two countries. Agrawal was appointed as the next Commerce Secretary on April 18. He will assume office from October 1. The THREA-day Indian official team's talks with the U.S. counterparts in Washington will start from Wednesday, April 23, the official said. The visit, which comes within weeks of a high-level U.S. team visiting India, indicates that the talks for the BTA are gaining momentum. The visit follows senior official-level talks held between the two countries last month here. Brendan Lynch, the Assistant U.S. Trade Representative for South and Central Asia, was in India from March 25 to 29 for crucial trade discussions with Indian officials. The two sides are keen to utilize the 90-day tariff pause, announced by U.S. President Donald Trump on April 9. On April 15, Commerce Secretary Sunil Barthwal had stated that India will try to close the negotiations as quickly as possible with the U.S. He also stated that India has decided to follow the trade liberalization path with the U.S. India and the U.S. have been engaged in negotiating a bilateral trade agreement since March. Both sides have targeted to conclude the first phase of the pact by the fall September-October of this year, with an aim to more than double the bilateral trade to $500 billion by 2030, from about $191 billion currently. In a trade pact, two countries either significantly reduce or eliminate customs duties on the maximum number of goods traded between them. They also ease norms to promote trade in services and boost investments. While the U.S. is looking at duty concessions in sectors like certain industrial goods, automobiles, electric vehicles particularly, wines, petrochemical products, dairy, and agriculture items such as apples, tree nuts, and alfalfa hay, India may look at duty cuts for labor-intensive sectors like apparels, textiles, gems and jewelry, leather, plastics, chemicals, oil seeds, shrimp, and horticulture products. From 202,122 to 202,425, the U.S. was India's largest trading partner. The U.S. accounts for about 18% of India's total goods exports, 6.22% in imports, and 10.73% in bilateral trade. With America, India had a trade surplus, the difference between imports and exports, of $41.18 billion in goods in 202,425. It was $35.32 billion in 202,324, $27.7 billion in 202,223, $32.85 billion in 202,122 and $22.73 billion in 202,021. The U.S. has raised concerns over the widening trade deficit. To address the gap and boost manufacturing, the Trump administration announced sweeping tariffs on April 2, including 26% on India. It was later suspended till July 9. Swipe left for next video. In 2024, India's main exports to the U.S. included drug formulations and biologicals $8.1 billion, telecom instruments $6.5 billion, precious and semi-precious stones $5.3 billion, petroleum products $4.1 billion, gold and other precious metal jewelry $3.2 billion, ready-made garments of cotton, including accessories $2.8 billion, and products of iron and steel $2.7 billion. Imports included crude oil $4.5 billion, petroleum products $3.6 billion, coal, coke $3.4 billion, cut and polished diamonds $2.6 billion, electric machinery $1.4 billion, aircraft, spacecraft and parts $1.3 billion, and gold $1.3 billion. Latest blogs.